All right, next one up. The question sentence reads, what was the inventory before any were used? So again, what was the inventory before any were used? So if we're taking a look at this context here, it almost sounds like we want to know the inventory before something happened, right? Before all of this happened. So when we think about percentages, that's already a hint that we're dealing with the original amount. Because again, if we want to know the inventory before the inventory was used, we want to know that original amount of inventory. So that's one little hint. Here's the second hint. Let's read through the context. It says, a warehouse used 12.5% of its inventory today, which amounted to 600 units. Let's read that again. They used 12.5%. So again, 12.5% equals the percentage used, and that is the same as 600 units. 600 units were used. Everybody, do we see the connection? Before we continue, do we see the connection between the percent and the result? Do we see that relationship, how they both represent the same thing? One is a percentage, the other one is in the actual number form. Booyah. So what are we doing 12.5% of? Of the inventory, of that original amount. So when we write that down, it's going to be like this. 12.5% of the inventory, of that inventory, is going to amount to 600 used units. And I'll go ahead and just show it again. 12.5% and 600 both represent used, which means we're good to go. We can try to solve for the inventory, and that'll give us the original amount before it was used. Sweet. So to do this, we got to be careful. Number one, we have to make sure we turn the percent into a decimal, and that's going to be 0.125. That's going to happen after we take that decimal and go 2 times to the left. From there, we're going to multiply that by the inventory. So I'll just go ahead and repeat inventory. And that's going to be 600 on the right. So to get this problem completed, we just need to get rid of that 0.125. To get rid of it, we're going to divide both sides, as we see over here. Divide both sides by 0.125, right there and there. And once we do it, we cancel on the left, and we'll perform our division. Now, we got a little bit of a problem because, we don't want to divide by that decimal. But no worries, let me copy that right over here. And let's show ourselves what we're going to do. Again, the best way to divide by a decimal is to not divide by a decimal. And we see that to not have a decimal, we're going to move that decimal place 1, 2, 3 times to the right. One more time. That was 1, 2, 3 times to the right. So we'll do the same up top. Again, with fractions, we have to keep that balance. And so that means we're going to have 1, 2, and 3 extra zeros. And so that makes this division, again, from 600 divided by 0.125, it turns it into 600,000 divided by 125. Now, at this point, you might be looking and thinking, well, coach, this is the point at which I was confused because I kept second guessing myself in terms of how many zeros because I was debating between A and C. Anybody here feel that way? Debating between A and C, not sure which one it was, which one the right one is? Yeah, no worries. I know the suspense is killing you. So let's go ahead and actually do the math. Let's finish the problem and do the math. So we have to divide by the 125, and we're dividing into 600,000, just like that. So let's go ahead and get after it. 125 doesn't go into 6. 125 doesn't go into 60, but it can go into 600. How many times do we believe 125 goes into 600? Okay, I see a couple of 4s flying out. Let's go ahead and use 4. Let's see what happens there. So we'll do 125 multiplied by 4 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2. 2 times 4 is 8, carry the 2 is 10. 1 times 4 is 4, carry the 1 is 5. So we have 500. And so cool, that'll end up being 4 right there. Because again, for the 600, subtract the 500, and we have 100 left over. We'll drop the 0, and that'll make it 1,000. My party people, how many times does 125 go into 1,000? Yeah, if you take a look here, you can actually figure that out pretty easy. Because think about it. If 125 times 4 is 500, well, we double it to get to 1,000. Double the 4, that'll be 8. So we can use that logic right there to give ourselves a little bit of an advantage on cutting time. But we can show it anyway. 125 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40, carry the 4. 2 times 8 is 16, carry the 4 is 20, carry the 2. And then 1 times 8 is 8, carry the 2 is 10, making the 1,000. So yeah, that would be 48 minus the 1,000, no remainder left. But notice that we have 1, 2 zeros left. So that would be 1, 2 zeros that we would place at the end, making our final answer not A, but the final answer is actually C, 4,800, my party people. And there it is. So a lot of us were close, but I want to make sure that we understand whether you got it right or wrong. Remember to ask why. That's the biggest thing always. All right, next problem up here. First thing we're going to do, as always, sounding like a broken record, how many square feet of carpet does she need? So we're going to read that question sentence one more time because they don't explicitly say area or perimeter or side length. It says, how many square feet of carpet does she need? My party people, I have a question for you. This is asking us how many square feet, not regular feet, but square units. Can anybody tell me what that is an indicator of? Who knows, point blank? Square units is an indicator of what? Area, exactly. So that's the biggest clue that with practice, as you get through your study guides, notes, this is going to really help you out. Square feet, we are asking for area. Now that we know we're looking for area, what we're going to do is look at the information because we need to know what shape we're dealing with and what those dimensions really are, right? So let's get after that. We know that the first sentence says a homeowner wants to cover a rectangular patio. So let's highlight that. A rectangular patio with outdoor carpet. Not the best idea in the world, but okay. And then it says the patio is 14 feet long and 11 feet wide. Awesome. So we're going to highlight that too. We have the length and we have the width and we have everything we need. We just really needed to know what that key phrase, square feet, meant because I have everything I need. I know I'm looking for area. I know I'm dealing with a rectangle, so I can write my formula out immediately. Length times width. And then up next, we see that it says the patio is 14 feet long. Boom, right there. 11 feet wide right there. And we're good to go. So 14 multiplied by 11 is what we're looking at here. Some mental math tells me that's 140 plus 14. But we can do this straight up and say 14 multiplied by 11, 4 times 1, 1 times 1. Bring that 0 down. Then we have 4 times 1, 1 times 1. Add everything back up together. And we have 4, 5, and 1, which will end up being our area as 154 square feet. And there we are, my party people. This is a great example about how knowing your formula just isn't enough. You have to know your keywords to know what formula you're actually supposed to use. And there we go, everybody. 154 feet squared, answer choice C.